This is a first movie in a series of cartoon tutorials for the Illustrator class. As you can see, we have a folder in front of us with a file that I've called Mario Breakdance JPEG, and we're going to leave it as a JPEG file, but this movie is only to bring it into Photoshop, get it ready for Illustrator, and to put it in a bottom layer and get the small scan layer, the template, and the clicky copy ready. So the next movie will actually begin to show how to do a gradient mesh, but this movie is just for Photoshop. So let's instantly right-hand click on this one file. I put it in a folder, which if I widen this out, you can see it's my student name cartoon folder. Please do that, and please understand that the Illustrator file needs to be placed with this at all times. What we're going to do is right-hand click and open this with Photoshop. As it opens up, we're going to expand out the bottom and see that currently it's 1.96 megs. We can get it up to about 7 megs. Let me flash into Mario's face by going Command Spacebar and seeing the pixelization right in Mario's eye. We want to be able to get that resolution a little bit better. So let me go Command 0 and put this on full screen and shorten the bottom here. Okay, fine. And now what we're going to do is to size this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is crop out everything with the C key that I don't need, just to get it down to the right possible size. And what I'll do instantly after this is convert the file to RGB, because it cannot be CMYK. So now that I've cropped him down, leaving a little bit of room on both sides, hitting the return key, let's go to image mode and change it instantly to CMYK. Let's now save this to the same folder. So let's go Command Shift S to save this. Save it right into the same folder, but instead of naming it Mario, let me go Brian _ Mario scan. Please put the word scan inside of here so you know it's a scan and that you're not to open it with Illustrator. Listen to the words carefully. You're to place it in an Illustrator file. So let's hit the JPEG options, make sure it's at 12. That's fine with me. That's good. And now in the folder you can see how Mario is actually a scan with my name in it. Now let's go size this. Right now it's 1.73 megs. Let's go to Image and Image Size, and we're going to instantly make this, as I said in class, somewhere around 7 inches wide. That's fine, and this would almost be fine, but let's go ahead and do what I said. Constrain Proportions is on, and let's put this at 7 inches. It's now going to go to 872K, but now we play with the resolution, and we keep on looking at the 872K until it gets to be about 7 megabytes. So let's go up to 300. 300 was too much. I'm at 14 megabytes, so let's go to 200. I can go to about 220, and I'm at 7.95. Let's go to 210, and I'm right where I said I want to be, around 7.25 megs. Remember the pixelization that was in Mario's eye? Let's move him over now and get real close to the same eye, and you can see how it's much more of a better resolution. Okay, so now we save this, making sure that you have changed it from CMYK to RGB. That's fine, and let's hit Command S to save the file and close out of I'm actually going to do one more thing before I close. I want to lighten him up just a bit, so I'm going to go to Image, Adjust Levels, and let's take the Levels command and just up the middle gamma over to here, right there. Increase the darks just a skosh, just so I lighten up just the middle values. And let's bring this over. This is what we had. It's just a little too dark. That's what I really want Mario to be like. Okay, so let's say OK. Command S to save the file. And now we open a brand new Illustrator file, placing the Illustrator file in here as well. So on the bottom of my dock, I'm actually clicking. You can't see it. I'm opening up Illustrator. Let me close this one and open up a brand new template. And I'll keep it in Portrait. And I'm definitely going to leave it in CMYK and letter. So let's now go like this and hit OK, and let's minimize the file, shorten my Illustrator page so you can see the whole thing on the screen. Go like this, which is to put it in the middle with the space bar, and hit File, Place. And now we locate the thing that I was going to put in here, which is now, I have to go back one. Okay, let's go into this one, which is the movie folder and the student folder, and now I have the Mario scan right there at it's compressed to 1.4 megs, but it's really 7 if you uncompress it. So let's place Mario directly inside of here, hit the E key, and put him right in the page. Remember, don't make him too big, don't make him too small. Perhaps this Mario would look better as a landscape, not portrait. So let's go to landscape under the file menu, and now let's place Mario holding the shift key. If you're going to, with the E key, which is transform, and the shift key, make sure that you hold the shift key so you can strain the proportion perfectly. As you can see, I have a layer currently, and we are going to double click this layer and name it template. In a few minutes I'm going to dim this, but before I do, I'm going to duplicate it by dragging that layer down to the new layer icon, double click it, and name it clicky. That's going to be my top layer. I'm going to take away the visibility and lock it, double click the template layer, and dim the image to about 40% so that it's quite dim on screen, so you can see the difference. Now we're going to start with a very simple gradient mesh on him, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do first, but I would like to do his arm, his hat, or his shoe. And really, his hat here is the easiest, but his arm would be one of the easiest as well. So we're going to make a small color copy, which we're going to duplicate by taking the template layer, double clicking it and taking away the dim, clicking inside and clicking on the linked file. It is linked. Make sure that when you place it, the link button was selected. So let's go like this and hold the shift key with the E key and shrink it down. Oh, it's a little too small, Brian. And now we're going to start with his arm. So what we want to do is make a clipping mask for his arm. So let's grab a M key, which is the rectangle, and make a teeny weeny little square or a rectangle around where his arm is going to be. And let's shift click both circles over here so you have the upper one, which is the little shape, and the bottom one is the bigger shape. Hit Command 7, which is to make a clipping mask inside. Show the template layer. Click to the new group, and I'll open it up to show you in the new group, which we're going to name this color. Small color. Just small color is fine. That's cool. So that's your small color example or your template. That's where you're going to use your eyedropper and grab all your colors from. Now if I take the E key, which is the transform tool, and move this in a comfortable margin over so that you see the arm you're going to draw where I'm circling, and let me get closer to that. Now you can see that you can get to the arm where you're drawing and see what the arm actually looks like. Now we have everything ready. Everything that you're going to do, and watch what I'm going to do here, I'm going to lock up the template layer, not to unlock it. Clicky is already locked, and I'm going to close and lock the small color layer. Make a new layer that's going to always remain higher than the small color layer. The layer that you're working on is always going to be higher than the small color example. Let me double click this, change the color to black because I know I'm going to need black later, and let's double click it again, and make this say right arm. Making sure it is the right arm when I click away. Yes, that is his right arm. So I'm ready with this one. I'm going to stop this file now after I make sure that you understood something. When I went to File Place, something I didn't say was make sure that link, look where I'm circling, when you want to place in an image like this, make sure link is selected before you hit place where I'm circling over here. Let me hit cancel because I don't want a second one in there. But let's just make sure that that's the case, because what I'm going to do is go back to, first let me hit save on this file, call this Brian Cartoon Art number 1, and save it as an AI file into my student folder. So now you can see where I have my Mario scan with the original Mario file, because you never want to destroy an original. I've named the Illustrator file Cartoon Art. I have the scan file with the word scan in there. I'm going to save it, and a window is going to come up, and I want to uncheck PDF capability. Remember that you want to work with this unchecked, but if you're going to go home, especially on a PC at the end of the day, use the Save As command so this window comes up. Won't come up under Save, only Save As. Check that before you go home. Go home and transfer your file, and then uncheck this as a thing that you do the very first thing that you do is go Save As when you transfer it over to your folder where you're supposed to be. Work on it always when this is unchecked, but if you're going to transfer between Mac and PC, make sure you check this and go home and repeat that process when you're finished. Alright, let's go on to start the whole Mario. We're going to start with the arm gradient mesh.